Charlie Kirk passed away at the age of 31. This is a quite tragic situation, and there's going to be a lot of problems with this situation if you ask me personally. I think it'll be cool if you guys stick around and hear the perspective. I do think I have some, quite interesting views on this. I could be wrong. I don't know. You can tell me in the comment section, and tell me your opinions if you agree or not. But in my view, right, the main thing about it is it's surprising, but it's also not. I mean, by all means, like me, I'm not politically driven. I'm very in the middle, to be quite frank with you. I know everyone says that, but I also think it's true for everyone. I'm not a snowflake for being down the middle. I think the majority of people are down the middle. However, you do have people who have their leanings, right? Or have their leanings on certain topics. And even I do have my leanings. But what I will say is a typical trend is that the right is always severely hated. The left is also hated by the right. But I tend to feel like the right, which is weirdly enough, the right tends to be more hated by the left for something as simple as free speech. Even though I would argue free speech is more of a leftist value than it even is a right value. Which is kind of crazy that the left gets, pissed off about the right. But I also want to make it clear, I don't think that this is a complete left versus right issue, right? I remember today I was praying for Charlie Kirk to actually, live past this. And again, I don't agree with Charlie Kirk on every stance. On some things I do agree with him on. A lot of things I genuinely don't, I've never thought of Charlie Kirk as a racist or as a horrible person, though. I will say that much at minimum. Even if I did disagree with him, I never thought of him as necessarily toxic. I will say that the right is also not without guilt in the past. Let's not get it twisted. The right has also resorted to violent means before. They have done so. And to be fair, there are a lot of people cheering on the death, which is disgusting. A lot of people cheering on the death of Charlie Kirk, which again is expected. It's not expected that Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, died. It is after the fact. Before the fact, I would have never thought Charlie Kirk would have died, especially where he did at a college campus. But again, it makes sense knowing what we know now and what happened. And, hindsight is 2020, as they say. I believe I'm probably butchering the phrase, but it makes sense. But my point is, the right has resorted to violent means in the past. Let's not get it twisted. But yeah, Charlie Kirk is the hate on the right from the left does run a bit deeper, in my opinion, than it does from the right to the left. Unless you take the extreme views. I don't know. I feel like the far right maybe hates the far left more than vice versa, but I digress. It's all really opinions, and I think that, opinions do shift. However, I would argue the left does typically get more violent than the right does when it comes to their extreme opinions. I feel like their violence though is usually more toned down. It's usually they'll spit in your face, they'll try to beat you up, they'll try to break your microphone or whatever it may be. The right, it's like they rarely ever get violent, but you occasionally get a couple, nuts who might take out a gun and start busting, But my point is, they're more rare and far, slim in between. More rare. But this is overall a very tragic situation. If this had happened to Joe Biden when he was president, don't get it twisted, you would have found a lot of people on the right cheering on the death of Joe Biden. You would have 100% seen that. Don't get it twisted. And I know there's going to be a lot of people on the right who were like, yeah, I would have done it, but I had a reason to do it though. A lot of people will validate their own perspectives, right? and hypocritically apply the morality of right versus wrong. But I'll say this, in my opinion, objectively, someone who does believe in, morality, or at least I don't necessarily believe in morality, but I believe that it's far more optimistic thought and more healthy for us as a whole, as a species, to believe in the concept of morality, which, I don't know, you can't do without believing in God. But you get my point, right? That's a whole convoluted topic for a whole different video. But this is something that, don't get it twisted. If this had happened to someone on the left, I do believe the right would have cheered it on still. If this was Joe Biden, this probably wouldn't happen. If it was, let's say, I don't know, a random, and this is the difference. If this had happened to, let's say, a random person on the left, a random innocent pedestrian, I don't believe the majority of the right would have been cool with it. If this had happened to an innocent person on the left, on the right, I do believe a lot of leftists would have been cheering it on. There's a bit of differences there. You get what I'm saying? I'm just saying there's shades to life and these politics going on. But let me also clarify what I was trying to say in the beginning, right? Which was that I don't believe that this is fully a left versus right issue. I truly believe this is just a matter of insanity versus insanity. Again, yes, you have extremes on both sides. I tend to find the extreme right tends to be a little more, outright with their shit than the extreme left. The extreme left usually will punch you, knock you out, spit in your face, even when you're being civil with them. But the far right, God forbid, they'll pull out a fucking blicky, man. they will do that shit. But it's far more rare that they'll ever resort to violence, I would say, on average. Still, with all this left versus right talk, let's be real here. Do you really think, even the guy who shot Trump, do you really think that a lot of these people are truly politically motivated? Like, I'm sorry. Listen, you have to beg yourself the question. By process of elimination, okay? I truly don't believe the guy who shot Charlie Kirk was right or left. I don't believe that. You have to understand, there's a reason for everything. Everything. Even if you're not aware of the reason, there's a reason why the dice falls a certain way. There's a reason for every fucking molecule in the fucking air, man. And again, I'm not some genius. I'm far off from that. I'm a fucking dumbass, but I know that much. There's a reason for everything. And what I will say is, psychopaths and sociopaths, right? They don't really care about politics that much. When they care about politics, it's not that they care about society and the way it works. It's simply a matter of, well, I want laws in place because, quite frankly, I'm pissed off when things don't go my way, and I want things to go my way for the most part. So for a lot of sociopaths and psychopaths, they don't give a fuck about the laws per se. All they care about is their own internal sense of morality and their fun and their sense of thriving. A lot of them don't even care about their own survival. A lot of psychopaths will shoot someone and intentionally put themselves behind bars just because they want that momentary thrill of doing it, to see what it feels like. Now, am I saying that the person who shot Charlie Kirk is a sociopath, a psychopath? I truly don't believe that either. Because I'll also argue that, I don't know, the man was old. It's did it really have to take this long for him to, decide I'm going to shoot someone? His whole life he went without shooting anyone, and now all of a sudden he shot someone over what? Politics? So I do believe that I'm not in his head, obviously what I'm saying is not legal advice or anything else like that, disclaimer. But my point, what I'm trying to say is, I truly believe that people like the guy who shot Charlie Kirk, who was an old man, probably did it just because I do believe he was pissed off by what Charlie Kirk was saying, but I also believe that it's just a mentally insane person. I truly believe it's a mentally insane person. The person who shot Trump, who many people were arguing that he was like on the right side. You had people who were saying, okay, well, he voted for Trump, and I don't deny them on the evidence, right? But also understand that life isn't as simple as just evidence. A lot of people forge evidence. A lot of people are not dumbasses and are aware that evidence exists. So a lot of people can point things of their own whim towards, creating a certain narrative for themselves. But my point is, I believe the guy who probably, and this is, I'm trying to find a way to correctly tie this with Charlie Kirk. The guy who shot Trump, I truly believe is a situation where someone just simply, yes, they disagreed with Trump, but I think they just wanted to go out and do some crazy shit. And not only that, but they tried to tilt things. In favor of them being viewed as on the right. They probably had a pre-plan before they went out and they did it. And they decided to, go through with it and paint it as if it's someone on the right. And they've set all the cards in place for that. This guy who shot Charlie Kirk, I do believe is a case of insanity. Why would you be an old man and do this? To be fair, it might have also just been that like he had nothing to lose. Now that I'm thinking about it, he could have just been like, shit, I got nothing to lose. I'm already old. I'm going to die soon anyway. But I think he was let loose, though. I don't know. Someone in the comment section said that. Don't quote me on that. Go do your own research, and I'll do mine after this video, right? But I truly believe someone said in the comment section that he was let loose. And if that's the case, that is a damn shame. It really goes to show you that, again, whether you disagree or agree with the right, there is a factual severe bias against the right when it comes to media. But I do believe that the higher ups are pitting the left and the right against each other. I do believe, because listen, the Epstein list, man, both right and left were involved in that shit, man. They all act like WWE enemies, fake wrestling bullshit, drama, but then behind closed doors, they're all dabbing each other up, probably sucking each other's dicks in some gay satanic orgy or whatever, and I'm not hating on gay people. I'm not hating on gay people at all. Whatever you want to do is up to you. I'm okay with that. But my point is, let's be real. Like, Satanists just do shit just to like go against God, So they just do shit just to be rebellious and shit. So by all means, if Illuminati did exist, you best bet your ass they're gonna have some fucking gay orgy. But my point is, like the media is definitely, it goes to show you the media is definitely against the right. At the same time, the left, not the left, the higher ups do know how to pit the left and the right against each other. This is a perfect way to distract people away from getting the Epstein list released. This is a perfect way. A death? Oh, that's big shit. This is a good way to distract people. With that being said, you're going to have people on the right who are saying that this issue is something that... You're going to have people on the right who are claiming, and I get their reasoning, they're going to claim that it is always the left who acts out. That it is the left who are the ones who are most willing to shoot at the right. Despite the left being against gun control, they're the ones who the right needs the guns to be against. That's what the right's going to say. And I get the perspective, because again, remember what I said. And to be fair, I don't have any statistics to prove this. Don't take what I'm saying as pure facts. I'm a dumbass in many different ways. But I do believe in, like, at least what I see with my eyes, or at least what the algorithm feeds my mind. Because let's be real here, YouTube is turning into a fucking echo chamber of everyone's own opinion. The algorithm, and it's intentional, just deludes you into believing believing the bullshit you already believe in. You rarely ever get like conflicting views. That's why I always go to the comment section to get mixed opinions. I value people's different opinions, and it's sad because that's starting to like, it's starting to get worse. And again, I'm gonna be real. Even though I love YouTube, it's my favorite platform ever. As a consumer and creator, this platform is getting more dangerous just because of the algorithm, the way it's structured. Which it's making a way for new content creators. It's becoming better and giving them exposure. But again, it forces an echo chamber on everyone. So the moment like these people get these opinions that conflict their own, it's like, oh my gosh, how dare you have a different opinion than me? You know, it's like it's like if you've never been smacked in the face before, you've never been punched. When you get punched, it's gonna really fucking hurt you. You know, and you could result to going to drastic measures to stop whatever's hurting you. And that's what I'm saying. I don't see shit getting any better than what it is. I truly do believe that we've peaked and peaced like years ago in the past. You know, maybe like 10 years ago in the past. I feel like we truly peaked at our peace levels, you know, across the world. Or at least in terms of first world countries, at least. Not third world countries, but yeah. What I'm trying to get at is that, yeah, the right is going to run with that narrative. That is the left who use their guns. And the left, I believe, you know, again, I believe that they're more inclined to resulting to violence. They're more inclined to throw hands the moment you disagree with them. They're more inclined to spit at you, to disrespect you, to attack your personal life, to call you racist, to throw these labels on you that may or may not be true. Whatever. My point is, a lot of times they won't attack you logically. They'll attack you personally. Even if it's the ones you love, just by association, man. And a lot of them they'll agree with 99 opinions that you spew. All of a sudden you mention one opinion they don't like, and then they hate everything then they hate you as they don't hate everything you said, but they'll forget the 99 opinions that they'd agreed with you on, and they'll be like, well, that's the least he could do is agree with me on this. He's still a scumbag. you know, they'll try to find the worst thing that you could possibly be just for that one opinion that they disagree with you on. A lot of the far extreme left is like that. I also believe there's a logical left and there's also a logical right. There is a good section of both camps, right? I do believe Charlie Kirk was in the better section of the right. That said, I don't think he was perfect either. Let me be frank with you. I don't think he was perfect. I did see flaws with Charlie Kirk, but that's not for this video right now. Maybe even ever, I don't know, because he passed away. But my point is, yeah, the left, however, is going to run with the very obvious narrative. And they're not wrong either. It is very ironic, okay? And even though I am for guns being in society, because I do believe that society should have guns, both to fight against the bad people, because it's not going just because guns go away from the hands of the public does not mean the bad people won't have guns. I do believe that there are tragic cases that do exist that will happen here and there, but I believe as a whole, I believe it is better for society to have guns. Same time, you can't also deny the fact, like, what about fucking Japan? What about China and all these places that, like, the citizens, you know, don't have guns, and peace exists on like a very strong scale. Like you rarely see cold-hearted murders go on. It does happen, but it's more rare, far more rare that it ever gets to that point in Japan and China. But there's a caveat. The people live like shit. The work culture is shit. And the people are depressed as shit. They have no fucking freedom. You know, the government rules all. God forbid you have a twisted-ass government. And I don't have faith in the U.S. government. God forbid you have a fucked up government, whether it's left or right. But I feel like the U.S. government is especially very powerful. God forbid you're fucked as a society. And to be fair, I don't think just because we had guns, we would be able to fight against the military. But if we had guns, because they have nukes and tanks, what the fuck are we gonna do about that? But I do believe that it is a good deterrent against, like the higher forces and whatnot. God forbid we lost guns. I don't believe I do believe that they would take over America. I don't have faith in the U.S. government, but I do believe yes they would take over America. But I also believe that like if we did fight against the government with guns, even though we would not win against the government in the slightest, they would never result in nuking us to begin with. They wouldn't result to doing that because one, it would cost a lot of money. Two, if they did result to doing that, they'd have to kind of pit the soldiers against their own families in a way. A lot of soldiers wouldn't do that. A lot of it could just result in turning back on the government, and on top of it, it just results in chaos pretty much. Even if the government could overall win, it would just result in like an annihilation on a mass scale that just wouldn't benefit anyone. And what is a king without a nation that he's actually ruling? They want to rule over something. If there's nothing to rule over, if they bomb everything, then what's the fucking point of being a king to begin with? There is no one at the bottom at that point. So that's my point. What I'm trying to get back in topic with was that the left, I do believe, is going to run with the obvious narrative that this is about gun control. And then I believe the middle section, which is where I more so align with, right, is that, and I believe you're going to have the logical left and the logical right combine on this perspective. It's that these times are becoming hard to just simply disagree with somebody. You can't even let your opinions be known these days. You legitimately can't. In a day and age, which is weird, because in a day and age where social media is so popular and opinions are so rampant and so strong and so like outspoken, it's so weird that at the same time the punishments for doing so are so extreme. It's like conflicting, with cell phones and everything. You would think we would become more accepting of different opinions, but we're not. And again, I do believe that I don't believe it's completely on the algorithms, but again, I do believe that it is a factor, and I don't think that these algorithms are trying to screw people up. I think it's just simply we want money and we don't care about what we got to do to get it. They're feeding people echo chambers of their own opinions. So that God forbid you hear an opinion that you don't agree with. It's like, what? You disagree with me? Violence! So, because again, people don't want to be in uncomfortable situations. And people a lot of times will do what they can to stop being uncomfortable, even by drastic means. So what I'm trying to get at is that the left and the right, I do believe the logical parts of both sides will come together on that. College campuses, a place where you're going to get your education. The whole point is that you're learning how to speak up. You're learning how to become a leader. You're learning how to become an efficient follower, which in order to be an efficient follower, even a follower, in order to be an efficient follower, you kind of have to be somewhat of a good leader. You have to be, in order to be a good teacher, you have to be a good student to begin with. In order to be a good follower, you have to know who the right person is to follow to begin with. You can't follow the wrong person because then you're not a good follower. You get what I'm saying? So in an environment where it is crucial to be able to, yes, speak your opinions, to be a good follower, you have to be able to sometimes critique your leader and be able to give him valuable advice so sometimes he can lead you better. That's how a society progresses itself. When the people, are able to be honest with each other and can help each other get better. In an environment like that, you should not have to worry about hardcore scrutiny. Of course, scrutiny is a human thing, to be fair. So I can't sit around here and say, oh, well, you should be able to just say whatever opinion you want, and people should just be like, you're a good person. Because there's going to be extreme opinions like black people suck, white people suck, Chinese people suck, Chinese people spread COVID. There's going to be extreme opinions like that. That's just going to exist, point blank. And it's hard to not, judge someone negatively based upon those opinions. But as I mentioned before, so take what I said with scrutiny with a pinch of salt. We're all human at the end of the day. I would judge someone negatively if they said some stupid shit about black people or white people. I would not like the person. So I can't sit around here and tell you, oh, we should just love each other wholeheartedly. Peace. Let's go hug some trees. But yeah, but still at minimum, we shouldn't be resorting to violence, and you shouldn't get an F in class either, just because you were honest about opinion. Granted, you use logical reasoning, and granted, although again, it can be debatable what is logical from what isn't for a lot of people. Some people have their own subjective interpretations, but I also believe that there is an objective interpretation of what is logical per se, but maybe that's because I'm a middle person. But then it also begs another thing. Should teachers and professors only be able to be teachers and professors if they're middle ground? That is another question. But then that results in, how do you tell someone is who they are? You can easily lie whether you're in the middle or not. My point is, statistics can easily be skewered, if that's the right word. I'm probably butchering the right word, right? But statistics aren't always reliable. People can falsify statistics and shit, and people can lie about their opinions. It doesn't matter. People can have their objectives. But what I'm trying to get at is that overall, I think society will get better in many different ways. But I also think, at least when it comes to opinions, there's probably going to be new regulations that are going to come in society. For every action, there's going to be a reaction. There's going to be some huge, pushback from the right against the left. Because Charlie Kirk was massive. This is definitely going to affect the views of each other, both the left and the right. A part of me is low-key excited to get some popcorn and just watching both of you be like, yeah, but a part of me is also kind of I'm not gonna lie, I do wish overall that we lived in a world where, again, we just wouldn't resort to violent means, that you wouldn't lose your job because you think a certain way and you have certain logical reasoning to think that way. Again, some people just don't like black people. Some people just don't like white people on the premise of whatever. Some people use logical reason, to be fair, and this is also true. Some people use twisted logic to back up very toxic views. That is also true. And that's why I said there's a gray zone here. That's why I said I don't blame people for scrutiny per se, but we should be allowed to give our opinions at minimum without being shot, whether you're racist or not. I'm gonna go that far and say that. Racist people don't deserve to get shot unless they're out there killing the people that they're racist against. Then that's different. Then shoot them. But if you're not doing that, then no. At the same time, maybe even professors should, I believe in an ideal world, professors and teachers would be middle grounded, maybe not having a strong right or leftist opinion, or at least be a part of, like, even if they have their leanings, maybe at minimum be like, a part of the logical left or the logical right. Be able to handle other opinions. And there's also responsibility that should fall upon the student or whoever it is at the college, that they should be respectful, and be able to produce their perspectives in a respectful way, with and this does exist, with logical reasoning, for their perspectives or whatever it may be. But yeah, rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. I truly believe he was a part of the more logical right. He was definitely not a part of, like, the toxic right, which does exist. I agree with Charlie Kirk on a lot of things regarding, like, guns overall. I believe that people should own guns. I agree with Charlie Kirk on kind of on abortion, not exactly, gray zone. I don't know. Like, I agreed. I think abortion is fundamentally wrong morally. But I also don't believe the government should be allowed to tell anyone what to do with their bodies, because I don't trust the government all the time. I also don't believe the government is all Satanist. I think the higher ups maybe are, but I don't believe that, like, all of the government is like that. So my point is, and when I say Satanist, I mean that as like a open phrase. I don't mean literally Satanist, but I just mean twisted in whatever way. Whether it's greedy for money, not caring about morality, just amoral, or whatever it may be. You get my point. I'm just using the word Satanist as like a phrase overall. Still, this is a sad situation. Again, rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. And yeah, I'm going to go check out some more of Charlie Kirk's videos. But I don't know. A part of me wants to check out some more Charlie Kirk just to kind of like look back at things and see the comment section too. But also, I just find it kind of sad to look at Charlie Kirk videos now, especially because a lot of his career was based on him debating people. It just seems like a sad thing to go look back at the content, but it is what it is. Anyway, if you guys, agree with the opinions, I'm not going to sit here and say like the video, because I just don't feel like it's the time for that. But tell me in the comment section. I do always want to spark up some conversation and see what everyone's opinion is. This should be this should be a place where everyone is safe to express their own opinions. I'll tell you respectfully, fuck you, and then I'll dox you if you have a different opinion than me. And yeah, so it's a safe place. No, I'm kidding. You get what I'm saying. Yeah, and peace out.